Hello and welcome back to another Let's Backflip Show Happy Hour. I'm Ryan Frank, co-creative director here at Backflip, and joining me as always is John Shoemaker from the Guitar Museum. What's happening, John?
Not a lot happening here at the Guitar Museum. Still have the same selection. Come on down, take a look. You can see some all the way back from 2007, maybe 2005. This one, the real vintage, all the way back to, I'm going to
I would
say
really love for somebody to come to your house to see the guitars.
1983.
Would you say
Yeah,
vintage
yeah,
1983?
yeah. Well,
Nice.
this one could go back to like 70s.
That's classic. It's
Yeah.
basically
So I
ancient.
mean, yeah, that's just a little teaser of the tour. That's about half the tour. So if you want to see the other half, come on down.
All right. Well, we're going to bring Andy Wallman in. We're going to bring our expert in here right when he's getting his camera set. That's what I was hoping we could do. How's it going, Andy? Oh no, have I lost your audio? Oh my gosh, that would be so great. We spent a little time getting his audio to work, and now we don't have his audio. Hmm.
It's the mystery of the dance.
It's the mystery of the dance. Yeah, I might just maybe have him call my phone or something, and I'll just hold the phone up like this. Um, oh, you know what? There's totally a way we can do this. I have the technology because we got the expert. We got Andy, Super Bowl commercial expert. He talks on Channel 3000, and he's doing MMP. I think on Monday to talk about this stuff.
For those of our viewers that don't know, MMP stands for Madison Media Professionals, which is a local networking group in Madison made up of professional media people from the Madison area.
Hence that awesome, very clear name.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
So I guess I can vamp a little bit on the. It's not just a useless vamp. This will be me talking about commercials a bit because that's what we're going to talk about. Super Bowl commercials. I'm sure we'll muse and opine about other topics as well.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't want to like start or like skew any of the opinion or conversation because I want to hear what Andy has to say. I'll just say it in a general way. It was an interesting year for me with watching the commercials.
Yeah.
Um,
How so?
wh- uh, One thing that, thank you, Luke. Luke is pandering to me. He wants to hear my useless vamp. It's not useless. You're going to want to record this part and save it for posterity.
Yeah, this is the
So,
money.
well, let's just say it this way. One thing that was interesting, this actually came up in another meeting. We were talking about how the Super Bowl, yes, the costs to like put your ad up are wildly expensive.
Hmm.
However, it's interesting because it's like, is it maybe the one of the most important times where it actually matters in all of TV today because
That
of things
cost.
like streaming and DVR and whatever.
Mhm.
The Super Bowl is one of the last places that people actually go to watch the commercials.
And aren't skipping the ads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're expecting to see something there.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, it's super
so
unique.
it's an interesting space to be in, um, and I'm sure to some extent, as a marketer, like there's probably a lot of pressure too to be like,
Mm.
even though we're gonna like critique them, like the pressure to knock it out of the park and be like, this
Hmm.
is it. This is not just the football Super Bowl, it's the commercial Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah. Well, and you see that, and you see that people trying really, really hard, and some cases succeeding and some cases failing, which is what we're going to talk about today. Let's see. Do we have Andy? Do we have audio? Oh, here. I don't have it. Let me see if I can just call you. We'll just do the old fashioned. Um, What's crazy? I did have you for a minute there. Let's see. What one thumb for work number, two thumbs for mobile number. Two thumbs. Okay. Let's try this.
Little known fact about Andy, just as a little intro to people who don't know him. All of his fingers are thumbs. So
Hello, can you hear me?
You know, when he held up these two, that was yes. Good.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Love it.
And you're on your phone, so if you can switch over to the video window, the restream, then we can still see you.
Okay.
And then I think the phone will still work, right?
Well, it's giving me a black screen here, fellas. Let me try another deal. Maybe the camera through the laptop trick.
Yeah.
Is going to save the day. What do you think of that?
I think that could be the one.
Yes.
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 Okay.
We're so close.
Dang. I can taste it. I can feel it.
One of these days I'll get this thing going back in person, and then we don't have to screw around like this.
No problem. No problem.
So another interesting fact. I don't know if it's a fact.
Got a little audio here, a little video there.
I think this will work. Yeah.
Wow. Welcome.
This is a game that I play with my kids. It's called How Old Am I? And it's like when I can't get something to work and I have to get their help, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I like, is technology just changing that fast that what I thought I could do, I can't do? Like, I find this happens all the time.
I've gone to the route,
my 58 or so. It gets a lot easier.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I've gone the route. I've just been embracing
it.
That's quite all right. I've been embracing it. My son is, getting involved in the like block coding games in Scratch and some things like that. And he'll ask me questions about how to set something up. And I was feeling stressed for a while that I needed to like figure out how to help him. And then I just realized at some point that I could just say, I don't know. I'm too old.
Sorry, I missed you there, John.
Yeah, he's just getting too old now.
Yeah.
His son's asking him for computer help, and he's realized that he can just say, I'm too old. I don't get it.
That's the go-to answer. Wow. Okay, we're back.
Cool.
And 3, 2.
Hello and welcome back to the Let's Backflip Show. We got Andy Wallman joining us here from KW2 Madison, president and co-owner. How's it going, Andy?
Great, just great. I'm not sweating. Nobody's sweating.
Who's sweating? I'm not sweating.
Well, thanks for having me. This is, like you said, it's John. This is sort of the one time a year when the world actually does kind of pay attention, maybe even look forward to seeing what the big brands, the startups, the nobody from nowhere has to put out there. And you had a great point about the pressure. I think you guys know this. You make a lot of content, a lot of video stuff, all kinds of things for your clients, and you have to get on base, get a double, triple home run every time. Imagine when there's all that money on the line. It's a publicly owned company, so shareholders might be breathing down your neck. You have layers of internal approval, layers and layers of client approval. I mean, the pressure is, you hit it right on the head. It's huge. It's gigantic. It's worse than when your audio doesn't work in an interview about Super Bowl. It's high stakes bingo, and the minute it comes out, you can see sentiment in social media. You can get feedback right away. And I think this year there were a lot of people sweating really hard. I like checking Twitter, for example, and the blowback was immediate.
Yeah,
In
right.
the first quarter, I don't think anybody liked anything in the first quarter. And then as results or sales or further quantitative or qualitative testing could happen to gauge efficacy, to start tracking the return on your investment, man, I worry that this year might just be a lousy year for returns for some of those brands. Conversely, some of the other brands, I think, are going to be really happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great kind of place to start. And I think a good format, a good way that we can do this is maybe bounce around, and I can probably show some of these commercials, at least portions of them, and then we can talk about them, what worked for us, what didn't, and then at the end we'll each pick a winner and a loser. How's that all sound?
Love it.
Love it. All right, here, I'm going to set this down for just a hot second while I get that document up that I shared. Let's see, Andy, can you give us a little bit of a description too? Hannah, our graphic designer, digital person, was like, you guys should talk about the Super Bowl. And I immediately thought about you because you do this on the news and you're doing it with MMP and you're like the guy who does it. So I immediately thought of you, but can you give it a little background on how you got going on that?
Yeah, it actually started via WTMJ in Milwaukee, the radio station. At the time, and this was 16, 17 years ago, I happened to know the morning DJ there. And he had said, oh, wow, yeah, you're in advertising, you're creative, and would you care to come on the radio Monday morning and talk about the ads? And I was like, sure, but why do you want a guy from Madison? and he had a great answer. We have a lot of Milwaukee ad agencies who are running ads with us, and we can't appear to show favoritism or the opposite and slight anybody or anything like that. So I think it was maybe a strategy on their part to get it on a counter. We did that for a few years, and then Channel 3 came a-calling and asked basically the same type of question outside of that market exclusivity type of out-of-market thing. And I think they knew I'm not a shy person and not afraid to share an opinion. And that was about 15 years ago. And like I said earlier, it's the time of year when the spotlight is sort of on what I do for a living and what I love to do. So just to get that shot, man, I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So I got this up now. Oh, go ahead, John.
I wonder if this is this is what the opinions are for, I guess. So this is my question, and clearly there's an opinion loaded in it. But did you feel like this year, on that topic of like this being the big pressure or whatever, this year felt to me like people, like it wasn't clear what was going to be the winning formula, the winning format. There was kind of like, in my opinion, I felt like there was like a lot of celebrity endorsement, and that just like stuck out.
Yeah, it was filthy with celebrity endorsements. Yeah,
it stuck out to me because my kids, and I know my kids are not.
Did it work for you?
Well,
all these celebs. What was your take on that? It's the classic part of the formula, but what did you think in terms of it being worth it or of value to the brands?
So there's a couple parts of it that like my kids are not the target, I know, but it stuck out to me because my kids were asking me every single one, who's that, like, so it was like clear, like, oh, if you don't know who these people are, it means nothing to you. I'm also not like a super mainstream guy, so there were a couple that hit that was like, okay, I see this person's face being shown very prominently, and it's probably someone I'm supposed to know, but I don't know who it is. Like, so there were a couple that hit me like that. And then And then I just tend to take them like I kind of got lost in the fray of like, okay, lots of people, and it's when I'm thinking back to it, and it's hard to remember who goes with which commercial and which product and all.
Yeah,
of
that makes me think of this one, which I'll share it up on screen now. The Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Let's see if this will actually play.
The estimated hold time is now
So
less than 90
I really like
minutes.
this one because I thought it was subtle. You got Miles Teller coming up here. It's super chill, super slow paced. And then they're just going to dance. They're just going to dance for like 45 seconds. And there's a little joke in here too. But this is one of those that was like a celebrity endorsement that, or in the sense of like having a celebrity do something that wasn't terrible. And I actually really enjoyed this one. Do you guys remember this one?
Yeah. I guess you want my take?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No, I didn't. And here's why. You know, you've got presumably great creatives at great agencies. You know, a Bud Light, it has a lot of muscle. And they also have a legacy of producing a lot of really notable Super Bowl ads over the years, right? For years, they were the brand. In fact, DDB in Chicago had the account. I knew a guy who worked there, and they would shoot maybe 10 spots. They'd have a lot of spots. And then they would test them. And they would run the 5, 6 most popular. And it was back in the time when it was all slapstick. It was all jokes. It was all, you know, super comical stuff. And they won the water cooler. They won the popularity contest every year. So you got a little bit of that legacy. And you add to that, they flanked, it was kind of an interesting strategy that they had. They wanted to be funny and say, hey, Bud Light, you know, we're so great. We're funny. It's a good time beer to have with your pals when you're just hanging out. But they also brought in the Clydesdales and wanted maybe to appeal to the older crew and have that reverent St. Louis Anheuser-Busch brand message go out along with it. And you add all that up, and I thought, well, you got Bud Light, and on the one hand, I did like what you said, where they weren't loud, you know, they weren't noisy, they didn't make this insane splash like so many of the other brands did. On the other hand, I thought, like, that's as good as you got. That's the most creative thing you can come up with is a couple of people just dancing to a song. Not like, and I you know, again, that sort of breath of fresh air. There weren't all these explosions. It wasn't super long like some of them choose to do. But man, I'd like to see what they threw away to make the winning ad be, all right, these famous people are going to dance. Somebody's on hold. Like, what were the other ads that didn't beat that? I just felt like, boy, somebody, and you know, I'm biased as a creative. Well, of course, the creatives came up with a zillion brilliant ideas, and it was some suit in the boardroom that approved this concept. On the other hand, maybe it was testing. You know, a lot of these brands aren't going to move a muscle without being able to prove through quantitative or qualitative that X number of people thought it was great or something. But I just sort of felt like you could probably do better than that. The T-Mobile version of it, I liked even less. It was men without hats. You can dance if you want to. And the turn in it was like, well, yeah, you know, with plans as great as these, you can do whatever with your time. Or no, it was TurboTax. With
TurboTax. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to do your taxes. We'll do your taxes so you can have time for other cool stuff.
Right.
And that I thought was even kind of more dumb and more of a waste of money.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
I think, a 45. So they spent a little bit more than they would have on a 30. Once they negotiated a big thing, they had a couple other, or they had another buy with the network going on. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a poopy pants old guy, but it just didn't hit me.
Well, what you're bringing up too is like the relation to what you expect from them, and so expectations not being met, which is huge, right? Like they've been known to make huge splashes and do lots of unique things. Where I feel like this is, in one sense, kind of the opposite of that, except I appreciated it because I think a lot of people were trying to do creative, and you could tell it's like, oh, you're trying to be creative and failing, and this one just was like chill and amidst all the craziness, and I remembered it, and I think that's what it was for me. Like after the fact, I was like, what commercials do I remember? I was like, oh, that Bud Light one was super chill. I like that.
Yeah, a lot of people did like it, as the USA Today, not like they're the arbiter of great taste or whatever, but they were known for testing the heck out of these and have Monday morning results. And I think it was top 5 with them. But, you know, most of America's with you, Ryan, in terms of liking that as an ad. An interesting kind of behind the scenes thing. Bud Light, in addition to buying a lot of airtime historically, and Anheuser-Busch with the Clydesdales and the Dalmatians as well, they, as part of that deal, they had an exclusive to be the only alcohol brand in the Super Bowl for years.
Oh.
And last June or July, they gave up whatever the rights, the payment to be the exclusive brand, which is why you saw, you know, so many different booze brands this year. Yeah. Bush, Remy Martin, I think.
Remy Martin, yep.
Yeah, kind of like a behind the scenes thing maybe most folks don't care about, but kind of interesting that they gave away that exclusivity to let others in.
And I think we've lost your video. I don't know if you need to wake that computer up. We still got your audio, so we got the good part.
Okay. Man, oh man.
So like that Bud Light one, you know,
where are you?
the Bud Light one speaks to you know, part of the.
I'll be clicking away here. What else did you guys like? What else spoke to you? What else did you think was great advertising?
Yeah, let's see. If you're clicking away, you won't hear John. John was gonna reminisce about the Bud Light comment.
Well, I can take it in a different direction too, but
yeah, I'm getting you loud and clear, right?
So I'll jump in on the Bud Light one. Part of the issue that I saw was it's the same thing I was getting at. I didn't even know who the people were. I didn't know that was a celebrity placement at all. Okay, so I didn't know that. I did know the reference to a viral video of a guy dancing to hold music that went around to that hold music. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. They're referencing that. But not everybody in the room knew that. My parents didn't know that. I don't remember if my sister knew that or not. So like the attempt to grab some sort of like shared experience is getting harder because we're not all consuming the same thing. We don't have 3 channels anymore that we all see the same thing.
Right.
And with like curated content, you know, in your social media feeds, we're getting more and more specific to each person. And so then the shared experience, to me, that's why like the celebrity endorsement or very specific references to things is like, that might not be a winning formula anymore. Like my shared experience be more on a higher human level, like Bud Light's classic commercials of like horses and puppies. Like, okay, we can get on board with some shared experience, but who's this random person and what's this specific reference? Not everybody will know. Some people will. And then the bit of that one is also like, what was the product? I think if you hadn't told me, I don't know that I could have figured out what it was supposed. I don't know that I could have remembered it was Bud Light versus Coors versus Miller versus anything else, you know?
Sure.
So they didn't tie the joke or the comedy into, they didn't put the brand product into
not super brand forward.
Whereas this one you've got on your screen right there, that the Bush
guy
ad, it's not super, but they have their like Bush sound that they, you know, Bush,
when you open the beer,
you know,
Bush. That's fun. And Sarah McLachlan, like, again, that's another reference you got to get, but they do name her, and I think that's hilarious because of the satire of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah, that's a wolf.
And that one might be like, again, the younger generation isn't the target, so my kids didn't get it, didn't matter. It was still funny to them that she was by the, you know, animals and stuff.
Yeah.
But that one is probably old enough to be a more mass, like, audience shared experience.
Mm-hmm.
They like played those ads about, you know, helping animals so much back in the day that, you know, they were sure to hit a wide, you know, slice of the population with that reference.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. We got him. Figured it out. All right. The Bush, yeah. I mean, it was memorable. I didn't necessarily think it was overly complex. Let's see. I kind of enjoyed it. Again, it didn't, you know, I did remember it, and I didn't hate it. I guess that's the my review of it. The Bush one.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one?
It was a cute joke and stuff. And you know, she showed a lot of courage for being known for that save the pets and won't you give now and stuff. So that was cool for her. And she's been off the map. Her Q score rating has probably fallen in recent years. So strategically, I'm sure she and her agent loved being back in the spotlight and conversation. And I think what this sort of brought up, and, you know, it's what you try to get out of any ad. And sometimes they really do a great job in the Super Bowl ads with this coming point, and sometimes they don't. And this one sort of didn't. But it's, why should I buy this? What about this is terrific? Now, maybe this is the inference is, you know, going camping with a famous Canadian singer, perhaps. But, you know, this is the beer for you to take when you're camping or something. But you know, the brands, I don't know, that don't try to really get me or get the viewer to do something or know something, you know, why they should pick you over someone else. I think sometimes that's a missed opportunity. Now, they could argue there's a lot of Busch Light drinkers out there. And you know, this is a theory out of the Sunday morning news shows advertising. You know, if you'll watch, like, Face the Nation, Meet the Press, these types of things, and you'll see a brand on there that you've never heard of, and they might not be selling a lot, but they're just speaking to shareholders, saying we exist. Look at us being a player on the big stage here. And maybe that was part of Bush's strategy, was to say, or to not worry about having to say anything to sell it, say anything competitively, say anything new or great about it. Maybe it was just like maintaining awareness with their core, reminding that legion, the billions of Busch Light drinkers out there, that we exist. And we're kind of funny, too, because we made this joke about Sarah McLachlan and wolves.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, sound cues and like Bush, like that was pretty clever, I thought, and super memorable. And I hope that continues, right? I expect that that's going to continue, or maybe it has, maybe it's an older joke.
Yeah. That mnemonic, you know, Coke used to leverage that a lot. Their brand promise forever is refreshment. So you would see the carbonation, you would hear the fizz. Even the soda cans might have the fake beads of sweat on it. All these little brand cues that try to get to their promise, like, you have a Coke, it's refreshing. On that mnemonic for Busch Light goes way back. Their jingle thing used to be, head for the mountains of Busch. beer, and I think they had the fizzy crack of the can associated with that for a long time.
I love it. All right, where do you guys want to go next?
You know, a couple of the broad stroke things that weren't hitting it for me were the movies. Clueless and Any Given Sunday and Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Grease. I had a creative director once who just would ring my bell and say, if I brought an idea like that leveraged a different thing in pop culture or society or history, his point was like, Andy, we're taking some time and headspace away from the viewer to talk about us and to make them remember us. You know, the reason that you know, media goes for frequency is to repeat and repeat and repeat messages. So over time, we're going to remember what these companies and brands want us to remember, or they want us to do, or what have you. And when you use a celebrity or a song, you run that risk of the audience remembering the celebrity or the song or the movie more than the brand or why they should get it. And I thought some of those, and they were all kind of 80s except for Grease. They were all kind of 80s movies that might have played to Gen X or something who loves 80s things and all that. But Clueless in the Rackatoo ad seemed kind of relevant. Alicia Silverstone's character bought a lot of fashion stuff.
Yeah.
So to say, go get some fashion stuff through this brand correlated with her. Caddyshack, I guess, you know, it's beer, go, you know, have a beer when you golf or whatever. And the Grease thing was like, wow, our agent, John Travolta's agent agreed to the deal. Now what? Let's figure out a song for Grease.
I feel like that was my response to a lot of those. Like, they agreed to be in this commercial. Like, they must have just been like, well, money's good, even if the content is not, you know, because that's what I felt like. I was like, it's not good, you know, for these actors, or like Snoop Dogg and Skechers. I was like, I like left those commercials feeling worse about the actor.
Yeah, and you wonder how cognizant they are of that. Is it just take the money and run?
Yeah.
It might be. The Any Given Sunday one, I didn't realize it at the time. I had to look it up. But what Serena Williams did was Al Pacino's speech to the football team. And they tried to parlay that into, whether you're a dancer or a football player or whatever, every inch counts. Go for it all and give it your all in life. And a lot of the sports fans were not happy with it because it didn't do justice to the reverence of that moment in the movie. Like, this is one of the best sport movie scenes ever in history. It was defiled. But you could kind of say the same in Caddyshack. I didn't think that execution was super reverential to the legacy and pantheon that Harold Ramis and Bill Murray put onto that movie. So, you know, you take a risk with celebrities, and I don't think it worked really well in some of those instances.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Again, just
another one, guys, and it was sort of a mixed one for me.
Real quick, are you able to hear John at all, or are you just hearing me on the phone?
I can't hear John at all.
Okay.
I need an interpreter.
Okay.
I'm
sorry. Yeah, I just want to give John a second to talk, and I think you might just not hear for like 20 seconds. You might just not hear him.
Yeah, he would have to do audio through his computer and then mic through his phone or whatever. But that point again of the movie references, yeah, same thing. Like, they were kind of fun, but in hindsight, the commercial itself is what was the product. Like, he mentioned those. I didn't even remember. Like, I remember seeing them now that you mentioned them, Andy, but I don't remember the product at all for those movie reference ones. I cannot begin to think of what the one was advertising, and I didn't remember what the product was for the other ones either.
Yeah. So not remembering the product from any of those. I don't know if the headphone trick worked. I put my headphone into the speaker or the microphone. It didn't. Yeah. John was just commenting. He didn't remember any of the brands, like what those were even for. Just like, a distaste of the actor. Yeah. And that's. I mean, I don't know if you were going to come to work a day. I like the concept, but again, it was like it seemed like a waste of budget for all the um, all the celebrities on this one.
I'm with you, Ryan. Could you just gotten away with Paul Stanley, or Billy Idol? They really must have had a great budget for it.
Yeah.
And as a Super Bowl ad, within that construct of some celebrities and jokes and a decent budget and stuff, it was fine. I didn't dislike those components of it. What I kept thinking of is those celebrities are super relevant to boomers, and then it kind of trickles down from there. So who are they really trying to target? HR managers, employers, or boomers primarily who had been downsourced or did some quiet quitting post-COVID or something? Who were they really trying to get lit up and flip over to try work a day as a job possibility, a workforce thing? But as a Super Bowl ad, fine.
Yeah, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna add John to this.
Brilliant.
And then I will just pull the phone away when John talks. I got it. I can make technology happen. Give me just a second here.
The use of Ozzy, you got to give him like.
Oh.
Hello. Like, what's the least likely scenario that you can put somebody in, or a context that just is a round peg in a square hole? And obviously, as an office worker in a cube farm, did that really well. That was good.
Yeah. And John, you might need to have headphones on with the phone, because I'm hearing feedback on the phone.
Headphone. Double
headphone? The technology is fun. I mean, it's cool that we can even do this.
Mute my.
Okay, I've muted my computer speaker. I've got the mic for maybe your good audio there, Ryan, and then I'm on the phone so Andy can hear.
I'll just do that. I'll just hide the phone and then show the phone.
Yeah. Tell me however you want it to work. I can.
Yeah, I think that works. Cool. All right. And then Andy, I think you were going to take us to another commercial.
Yeah, I don't know. What was your take on Popcorner's Breaking Bad spoof?
Oh, and I kind of saw the Popcorners a little bit beforehand. And I don't remember if the full thing was released or if it was just mentioned. I was fine with it. I loved Breaking Bad, and the scene was pretty great. And actually, some of it looked a little bit better than I remember in Breaking Bad. So that was kind of fun by itself, without the context. I thought it was, I don't know, not great, not super memorable. Because again, like you said, it's cribbing that scene from Breaking Bad and changing the context of it to not be meth, but to be Popcorners. I did remember it. I did, it brought back some nostalgia of the show. So those are some positive things. But as a commercial, I was just like, kind of got that trying too hard feel is what I took away from it.
I was sort of wondering if what they were really trying to say is they have one new flavor. They talked about when when they finally get out of the RV, they say, we have 6 air impulses. We have 6 flavors. And the other guy says, I want 7. Oh, okay, 7. And I wonder if that was like on the creative brief originally was our whole point is to introduce the 7th flavor or to say that we have 7 flavors now with popcorners. That's the reason we're doing all this big spend and splash on the Super Bowl. You know, they really weren't throwing in a whole lot of sell and stuff.
Yeah. I'll get this video up too.
You know, it's one of those, if you know Breaking Bad, if you're a fan of Breaking Bad, there were sure a lot of folks that were, you know, fun, nostalgic trip down memory lane. If you don't know it, you're lost, you're gone. You don't get the joke. You're not in on the joke. But to have the whole thing, and it's an all or nothing premise. If you're doing a Breaking Bad spoof, or you're leveraging that equity, that phenom, you're talking about meth and kind of doing meth jokes. You know, how can you cook this up? And, you know, everybody's going to be addicted to it or whatever. That was a little, I don't know, a little different, a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, I had the thing where yet again, I did not remember the product at all. Like I'm like, oh yeah, that was a funny ad. I'm like, popcorns, what is that? Now I see it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's right. It was like but nothing, like, just, you know, again, like, it feels weird to critique these like great creative, you know, and all this like great production value and everything. But I'm like, but as the consumer, like, would it be more effective to just do old style traditional ad? Just tell us what the product is and what the value proposition is and why I should get it. Like, spend $7 million on your ad space to do that, and you're in front of the people. Like, because yeah, it was fun, but I did not remember the product at all.
Radical, John, that you're saying it should sell something and really say something. No, I'm with you. There wasn't a lot of sell. There wasn't a lot of why you should go buy this or buy it over something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of that interesting thought of it's got to do all these things, and you know, Budweiser's maybe a great example of someone who tried unique things and then eventually people started copying, and maybe even like Geico with the way that they do their punchlines, right? It's like, and I forget, I probably should have thought about it beforehand, but they do something kind of similar where on a lot of one of the campaigns that they have, it's did you know you could save this much? Oh, it's kind of like a ice cream tap. I'm forgetting it all the lines, but it's like proposition and then crazy silly thing to remember it, cut to crazy silly thing, back to proposition, you know, value proposition. And they kind of developed that mode, and now everyone basically does that. Even like who's doing it now? Liberty Mutual does a weird version of it. They've been trying with the bird for years, and the green screen one is just terrible. But it seems like there's kind of those modes that get developed and then get copied because they work well. And then now, I guess that's what I'm criticizing this year, maybe. Like, I didn't feel like there was anything that stood out as unique, different, you know, never before done. You know, a lot of it felt really tired to me.
Yeah. Geico's discipline is amazing because they turned the corner. Their ads used to be kind of boring, and then they did get funny and creative and memorable and get some shock value, but they consistently said where you were going right, save 15% or more on car insurance in 15 minutes or less, something close to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the button every single time that they leave you with. And they spend so much. I think they're one of the biggest media spenders out there. They're constantly running messages, and to have that at the end of every one of them is smart. That's good, you know, brand communications. They're really trying to sell a value proposition.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a friend who was a very talented musician, still is a very talented musician, and he would write this music in college. And my wife and I actually like really enjoyed it. We still have a bunch of those from his early album. But I saw a trend, and I think I see this in a lot of young musicians, is that after a while he would sort of start to like redo his songs and like re-concept the melody. And even one of our favorite ones, he like changed the chorus and it like brought it down like to a third, like it was like a harmony. And we're like, that's not even the melody from the original time you wrote it. Like, and what it is I think it's people, creatives, getting tired of the thing that they have because they've heard it so many times. And to me, I'm like, yeah, but your audience isn't tired of it. Your audience can hear it again. Your audience could use that reinforcement of the brand message or the, proposition, instead of the marketer being like, well, we've already done the, save, this on Geico. We save 15% or more. We've already done that. Let's try something else. And then you end up with something that's like, Geico hasn't done that, but you end up with these brands that are like, okay, you would have just been better off just giving me a solid call to action, brand proposition, than like, oh, it's a funny ad, but I don't know what this was for. And I'm getting ahead of whether Ryan's ready for this part or not, but like one of the ones I thought, for me, there's two that I thought were the most effective that I just remembered. But the one that sort of surprised me was a Uber ad, the Uber One ad. I didn't necessarily like it, because I don't know a lot about, yet again, who was that was sitting there. Was it it was some rap artist. Was it
Diddy?
Dr. Dre? Diddy. There you go. So yeah. Um and I'm like, okay, I don't really know who he is. But then when they went into all the artists, like, you know, doing these like songs, they were asking him to create a hit song, and he's like, Diddy doesn't do jingles or whatever. Like, no, not a jingle. We want a hit song. And then you get all these like nostalgic, and again, I know you're taking a risk, but nostalgic songs that everybody knows, but they put the brand name into the joke of the ad over and over and over. So like the, the one, yeah, Uber One, da 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 da, Uber One, I will be with you. Like I can't even remember what all the references were, but the few that I remembered, they had Uber in it. So I just remember Uber. Okay. So now it's stuck in my head. I know Uber. Uber's on top of mind for the next several months, So that was one that kind of, initially I wasn't sure if I liked the ad, but then it was kind of funny because they hit enough different songs that you were kind of like, it was like a good strategy too, to like, well, if you don't like this song, they played 5 different snippets of classic songs that somebody could like something from all of them, and they all made the same joke, replaced the words with Uber,
Of ultra famous songs. One of the women was the "I Will Always Love You," the Celine Dion song. So it's a cool tactic. If you get the right audio, the right music, rather, it's a wormhole. It's tough to forget a catchy jingle or something that's repeated. On the flip side, I had the second they said jingle in the ad, I laughed. I used to get guff from a partner of mine as a writer, a copywriter, and you're always teamed up with an art director. And if I would come up with a concept that was about a song, that had a song or it had music, which I tried to do a lot, I just love that as a tactic, because the wormhole can get into your ear and make it memorable. But he'd give me guff and say, there you go, Wallman, if you can't say it, sing it. In other words, you can't come up with a good idea, so you're copping out with this jingle idea. Kind of inside ad creative slamorama. And I thought that right away. Okay, Uber, if you can't say it, sing it. But it was funny, and the star power usage was pretty good.
I remember this too, and I feel like I had like a mixed kind of perception of it. One, the brand was clear to me, and I thought that was extremely effective. I kind of disliked the Diddy part. Like the Ylvis, I thought was kind of funny, but same thing with Snoop, Hawk, and Skechers. It just feels cheesy, and I feel like there's a way that it doesn't have to be cheesy. But then again, it was very well produced. It was very pretty, kind of filmic, gamma look to it. So yeah, this one had a lot of positives for me too, despite my aversion this year to celebrity endorsements.
It was weird too, apropos of maybe nothing, but I think 3 or 4 of the ads were in an audio studio. Somebody was behind the soundboard. Dave Grohl for Crown Royale. This one, I forget the 1 or 2 others, but it was just kind of a weird coincidence that, all right, picture this. You're in an audio studio behind this big soundboard, right? And then you're the first ad on the Super Bowl when you had that idea, and then the next one comes on, you go, crap, somebody else is doing the in the booth, in the studio, behind the board thing too. And then the third one comes on. Ah, crap. There's the third one where they're, you want to have the only great soundboard, audio, music studio idea in the whole thing. The ending thing of this thing too, like, he I think they tried to get a funny look out of him, and it looked like to me like his last. He's trying to sort of smile a fake smile right at the very there it is. He's trying to fake. I don't think he can act very well, and I wonder if that took like 70 takes. All right, let's try one more. Let's just roll back, and you're going to turn the camera, and you're going to smile this kind of uncomfortable smile. Okay, that's great. Well, let's try it one more time. We're going to try one more time and just be a little more uncomfortable. And I wonder at what point did he just say, all right, I did 70 takes. You have it. Yeah. Pick one. Yeah. We're moving on.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So do you have, quick question, do you have a hard out, or is it okay if we go a little past 1? Because if we have a hard out, we'll get your winner and your loser. Oops, hang on. I turned it off. What was that?
Proceed. A-okay.
Okay, cool. So this was one. Let's see. I did want to come to, you had mentioned T-Mobile. I thought this was super memorable. I think some people are kind of back and forth. Everybody's back and forth on everything. There's people who like it, people don't. I mean, the branding is front and center. I thought it was fun and playful.
I'll support you, Ryan. I liked it.
Nice. Sorry about the double audio there. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was charming. Maybe that's like just as a man having a mother being like, oh, it's kind of cute. They tried to make this work. Obviously, some of the jokes were written. Maybe all the jokes were written, but I thought they did a really good, charming job. And I think T-Mobile in general, like their commercials tend to stick in my head, I feel like.
Yeah, they hang on to Pink. You talked about that challenge, like Geico repeating that line again and again and again. And we always say it in the agency world, us and the clients are the first ones to burn out on maybe a particular brand equity like Pink, or repeating that line again and again and again. And there's this fight between discipline and temptation. So yeah, they do a great job. They show a lot of their stuff in the store. Pink is always present. I guess the backstory on this one is what made me question things again, in that, like, how good are the creatives that are really making this, or how good is the judgment of the people that are really approving these things? And I guess the backstory is that they had a different idea for this ad. And I don't know if it stunk and it just execution wasn't there, or the performances weren't there or something.
Oh, so they went comedy with it, like the reality, authentic.
Outtakes.
Yeah.
It's all the outtakes. And I'd love to see the ad that this beat. Was it really that terrible, or was the outtake, maybe it tested really, really well, and people loved that chemistry that seemed so authentic. But what the heck was the one that died, that didn't run, And a couple other times, you get a genuine relationship here, and it seems like if this was Thanksgiving, he would really be cracking up like this. But a couple times it was like, I'm really gonna laugh at my mom now. I'm super gonna laugh.
Yeah.
I'm really, really, really gonna laugh. But he's great. He's a charming guy, and you know, I bet zillions of people the second they saw him, male and female, were like, "Oh, cool, Bradley Cooper, all right."
Yeah, there was a, you know, I loved it because it just, I mean, it really hit personal for me as like very authentic and like it felt to me like, because I heard some people say, well, I don't even know if that was his mom. I'm like, well, if it wasn't, then it's one of the best acted commercials I've ever seen, because it looks so like you can see the little bit of frustration even come through with him, where like they actually are trying to do it and he's just like, oh my gosh, you just can't do this. And I thought it was funny to me to see that difference between like, he's professional, he knows how to do this, and they like clearly brought in an amateur, his mom, to like, here, let's do something funny. And just like how, I guess it's probably because we often end up working with non-actors in things, and you're just like, yep, that's trying to get a non-actor to give you the thing that you're looking for. Yeah, there's a comedy to that.
You got to hit the mark, man. There's an X on the floor for a reason. We want you to walk and then stop on the X. Oh, no, I forgot to stop on the X. I missed the mark on the floor. Or just read the prompt. All you have to do is read that teleprompt.
Yeah.
You know, maybe her vision stunk and it was too far away no matter what they did.
Yeah.
But to throw the original one out and go with this, I thought was kind of funny. The other thing I wondered, how short is Bradley Cooper's dad? Because she is super short. And granted, he shrank with age, but his father must be super tall.
Yeah. Yeah, we have an idea how biology works. So
I'm no geneticist.
Let's see. Okay. Here you go. Here's one. The Planner's Peanuts. The roast of Mr. Peanut. I mean, I love the title. That was probably about all that I loved about this. And I thought, wow, they wasted all these hilarious comedians on cheesy ass jokes and cheesy reactions. I was like, oh my gosh, they must have got paid a lot of money. That's all I could think of.
I'm with you. After the double entendre of roast, the roasted peanuts, get it? Because it's a roast. Then I just kind of questioned, well, this is really a meme format. The celebrity, the comedy roast, you know, you see some of the, like when I grew up as the Dean Merton celebrity roast and Don Rickles, Hockey Puck. And you certainly see the HBO ones that are unedited. They're really blue. You know, the intent is for these comics to use the really foul language and premises to zing somebody, to throw a zinger.
Right.
And Planners for years has had this pure brand, this all-American kind of apple pie kind of vibe. And to, you know, if you really know, like, if you've seen those HBO roasts and stuff, they're going into some deep water here, I kind of think. And I questioned again on this one, what else did the creative team not sell that made this one the winner, you know?
What they almost think, like when you want to make a joke like that, what you almost need to do is like make that the joke be the guy who came in and thought that it was a roast and did that for
have
a bit.
Him be inappropriate. That would have been hilarious.
And then everybody's kind of like, that's not what we meant by roast, like, you know, because then you leave
your pork roast at home, you know? And who the heck remembered that a couple of years ago they killed Mr. Peanut in a Super Bowl ad? That you really have to be paying attention to Super Bowl ads. One of the lines, I'm sure the copywriter or the brand manager was like, yes, they kept it in. It made the final cut. Great. And like 0.003% of the world remembers like, oh yeah, 3 years ago they killed off Mr. Peanut. Tried to make that a big PR, funny, creative thing in a Super Bowl ad.
Actually, I mean, that kind of brings us to the next one, which I don't have on here, which I will pull it up real quick. what is the whole thing going on with M&Ms? Like, they're like, M&Ms, they're killing off the peanuts because they don't represent blah blah blah, and then Maya Rudolph is the new spokesperson. But then they had a commercial in the Super Bowl, and that was just like me seeing headlines fly by. And then they had a commercial in the Super Bowl of like, "We're back, baby," or something. And I'm like, wait, was this like a thing or not a thing?
It was a giant PR thing. They made the ad as to react to blowback. They were changing some of the characters. They were talking about more diversity with these characters, representative of different lifestyles and stuff. And they got a lot of heat from certain voices out there in the country.
So that was real?
Really real. And if you're at that point in time, I think it's like Q4 of 22, and you're getting dragged through the mud, right or wrong, you're getting some negative publicity out there, and you're thinking, wow, we have this ad celebrating our new characters and what they represent and diversity and stuff, and it's going to be on TV in 6 weeks, and 100 million, 120 million people are going to see it. We better change that ad. So I think they had to scramble and make a new ad, which was the weirdest ad in the whole Super Bowl, like clam flavored M&Ms. Some of the audio, like, I've done a lot of that music stuff, and sometimes, despite best intentions, when you try to sing a lot of stuff, it just doesn't come through. You have to make it drop dead simple, the song and the articulation and even the pacing, so that what you're trying to sing is understood. So there was that technical whoops of trying to sing a lot of stuff in there. Mayas instead of M&Ms. When we do naming or brand naming or naming a product, whatever, easy to say, spell, see, and search. Maya's is not so easy to say, spell, see, and search. So I think that went over a lot of people's heads. I didn't get the first time that it was clam flavored. And when I look back, I thought that was a really weird choice. That's disgusting. What positive association is anybody going to make with this delicious chocolate candy peanut thing and clam flavored candy? It had so much wrong going on, and you got to love Maya Rudolph and stuff, but man, it felt like it could have gotten like 4 or 5 penalty flags thrown at it.
Yeah, this was one too where the celebrity, I was like, Maya's just awesome. Like, she was probably the only thing that made me feel anything positive about this, because the rest of it, like you're explaining, I was so confused. I was like, wait, are there Mayas? Is it clam flavored? Wait, help? They're being held captive, and now we're releasing them? And like the story of all this, I'm like so confused. And like, obviously I remembered it. It didn't make me buy M&Ms, but I'm like, what the is going on?
Yeah. I love envisioning the behind the scenes stuff, and there were probably a lot of arguments leading up to it, and certainly a lot after Monday.
I also think that I like when they have series and stuff, but there's a danger there too, that like if you don't if I was in the bathroom or getting snacks like on the one of the series of the thing that is unfolding as the full story they're trying to tell through this goofy commercial universe during the Super Bowl, then I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. Saw a little bit of that, but like we're just chatting as a family, so I was like, oh, Maya is doing something. I missed all of this. Like I just was like, it's like a spoof of M&Ms, I guess. That's like clearly a really bad idea. So instead, you should get M&Ms. Like, and that
yeah,
was,
it spoofed itself.
That was enough of a. I mean, that's what I thought the ad was, which was okay enough for me. But to have the complexity that you just brought to it was like, well, I didn't get any of that. I just got that it was a really bad idea from Maya, and instead just stick with your M&Ms.
It's interesting. Like, I did a lot of music, a lot of comedy over the years, and rule number 1 is know your audience. If you're playing an old folks home, they have to hear you. If you're playing kids, You got to go fast because your attention span stinks. And you can see a lot of these folks when they're coming up with the idea, who are we really talking to in there? Is it the person watching the game by themselves? Is it the party with 20 people in the living room? Is it the bar full of people? And to your point, John, you got to be really paying attention. You get all the little stuff going on in this ad or in that type of idea where it's a series, sequential story type of thing. And a lot of the people that might be in the big living room with a lot of folks in the room with them or at the bar, they don't even get all that. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of maybe safest to do that slapstick stuff or really broad, simple things that no matter what audience it is, the audience of 1 or 50, everybody will get it, mm-hmm. or at least have a chance to get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes me think of this next one that I've got.
I think I know where you're going. I hope it's the one.
Let's see. Tubi was good. Well, we could take a look at Tubi in a second. Oh, and the dog ones. There's some good dog ones. All right, here we go. The premature electrification. There's so many pharmaceutical ads that we're beat over the head with it. I thought it was a clever way to spoof that, to have a satire, while at the same time actually sharing the values of the Ram EV or whatever. Now, at the end of it, you don't hear Ram until the end, so that's probably my biggest criticism. But I thought this was hilarious. We were all laughing while this was going on, and yeah, the imagery is great. The lines are great. The actors are great. It's not celebrities, just getting paid to show up.
I think you hit it on the head. They did a great job of threading the needle between that that spoof of a pharmaceutical ad, the type of the category of the pharmaceutical product, erectile dysfunction, and then selling a benefit about a Ram EV. And that is, it's going to stay charged up. It won't run out of juice on you. It's going to run at full power all the time, no matter what, mm-hmm. allegedly, even though it's not coming out for a year. They did a great job at making the sort of justification of the parody sell. It kind of hit on some features and benefits and attributes and mm-hmm. stuff. I think if you're a guy, you're probably chuckling and then kind of going, sweating. This is just me in 10 years or now. And then maybe a lot of women were just dying, laughing their butts off. I don't know.
Yeah, we all had a good time with this one. This was one that we actually, we literally did laugh, which was a genuinely fun experience. And then at the end, I was like, okay, I feel a little bit more positive about Ram.
Yeah, and there were 20 jokes, and every one of them hit it right on out of the ballpark. Even if they got 50% of the jokes hitting it, great. But it was like almost 100% of the jokes mm-hmm. were just chef kiss.
Yeah, I appreciated that one. All right, let's see. So I mentioned the dog ones too. Like some of the ones that are just like, aw. So there was 2. And until I looked them up, I had forgotten which brand was which. So there's the Amazon one.
Well, and the danger that we talked about of ending up with the same similar concept as others. And I'm curious, maybe Andy, some of the behind the scenes, it was interesting to me in a year where 2 movies of magician come out at the same time. With the Super Bowl stuff, imagine there's a lot of, they're trying to keep it secret or keep your own idea, but there's probably some sleuthing going on to try to figure out what other people are going to do. Do you know anything about it?
Well, I can't give you facts, but for sure you want to keep the lid on it in hopes that you're not going to be duplicated or replicated. But the use of pets always has tested well, and babies and celebrities in this Super Bowl ad milieu. You know, you'd see Budweiser doing the sad dog story, the sentimental dog story, the little sniff dog story. Everybody loves a sentimental dog story. Amazon's execution of it was a little strange to me. They really went on and on about the dog being a bad dog. That dog, I'd be really mad.
That's true, yeah.
The dog was my dog. And then they're selling, it seemed like there's contentiousness on how it should end. You know, I thought it was over when they showed the crate. Great, Skippy's going to come with us on all our trips now and never rip up our stuff again, and we'll be happier, and Skippy will be happier because we got the crate that we can take with us. And then there's sort of an ending after the ending where they're like, and Skippy gets a little brother or sister, which I didn't think they needed, and what the heck was that? Can I get a puppy on Amazon now? What?
Yeah, right.
So
right.
The reason, you know, choosing the dog, that's an old go-to money in the bank tactic. If you can't make people sad or you know, feel warm fuzzies and feels with a great dog ad, you're not a great creative.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The confusedness with the story, because like I was like, wait, are they going to put the dog in the crate and just leave it? I was like, wait, are they punishing the dog? And I was like, oh, they got a new dog? Oh, they want their home destroyed even more. So yeah, I do recall that being, you know, a little bit confusing.
And in terms of that confusing storytelling, comparatively, the last few years, the Amazon ads were really tight. You know, they had one in a bathtub and some celebrities and stuff, but it was just brilliant, beginning, middle, end. There was no fat, no waste. And this one, it kind of fumbled at the goal line near the end for me.
And then when you get a sec, we did lose your video. We still got your audio. Okay. And then we have and I didn't remember this brand, but again, a commercial. So it's a failure from that regard, but I enjoyed the story of this puppy, the farmer's dog food commercial. You know, it's the story of a girl and her dog, right? Which I thought was super, super sweet. And especially like the old dog towards the end of the ad with its old face. I was like, oh, so cute.
I love this one. This I think was my favorite. For a lot of reasons. You know, it's the same dog. It's the life of the dog kind of, right?
Yeah.
So you get the heartstrings with, oh, it's Skippy or whatever, our lovable dog. But to have it be this, you know, if you've had a dog, it really strikes you because you feel lost when you know the dog is going to be running towards the end of the line.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to say goodbye to the dog. And man, the execution, the storytelling, the way it's shot and directed, just play that to a T. Like I'm the guy who could cry at a Hallmark ad really easy. But to nail it like they did was just beautiful. You really felt like, you know, dogs are important to a lot of people and a lot of people's families. And when you do have that time when you need to say goodbye or start saying goodbye, it sucks. What I love though is this underdog Cinderella kind of deal. Farmer's Dog is an 8-year-old brand out of Brooklyn that nobody knows about, and they got on a map. You know, their $7-10 million spend. I think they're going to get back, and then some, and then some, and then some, because of how popular this was, how well it scored, how good the ad was. They had a 50% off deal with their website. It's a delivery food service for sort of quote unquote fresh dog food. It's not dry stuff. It's made with quote unquote real ingredients and stuff. So out of all of the brands that take this gamble and pray that their investment comes off, I got a funny feeling these folks might be sitting at the top in terms of that return on investment, raised brand awareness, intent to purchase. It just hits so many great beats. Like I bet if you're working at Farmer's Dog today, you're still riding that high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it maybe wasn't my favorite, but I think it was definitely one of my top. And I'm not the target audience, but I did love the story, and I think the only thing, and this happened with the wood company a couple years ago, the log company or whatever. I was like, what brand was that? Dang it, it was so good, and now I have to look it up. But I mean, arguably that's good too. Like, you don't know what it is, so you got to go look it up, and you spend that time and make that happen.
Yeah, some folks, like last year, it was crypto brands who were trying to be that. Who the heck are they? They're out of nowhere. What's crypto?
Mm-hmm.
And look at what happened to that. A lot of them just went straight down the toilet since then for a variety of reasons. But I love when that one underdog, that one Cinderella, does do it right, because it takes a lot of courage. Like $7 million might be 3 years worth of ad budget for this brand, and to say we're putting a lot of chips on the Super Bowl and have it work, good on you, good on you.
Yeah, John, you have a dog. You've had dogs, and you have animals. Like, do you remember this? Did this hit you guys?
I do, and I did have like an emotional reaction to this one. I think I don't remember the brand, and it didn't. I didn't actually go look it up later either. I think I read about it as like, oh yeah, the Farmer's Dog one was good, and it was kind of like okay, but then I was like, okay, I remember two ads. I remember this one, and I remember the other Amazon one. So like in recalling them later, it's hard for me to like remember exactly, but hopefully, yeah, it was really well done. It's probably one of the best stories that was told in the commercials this year. So yeah, the question is whether the brand sticks with people strong enough.
John, I'm sure. I think that this one ran first, and then Amazon. I'm sure this one ran first, and the Farmer's Dog people are feeling great. And then the Amazon one comes on, and Farmer's Dog is mad at Amazon, and Amazon, seeing the Farmer's Dog before Amazon, is mad at Farmer's Dog. Like, damn it, people are going to get confused. The dogs even kind of look alike.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least they didn't put the dogs behind soundboard, right?
Yeah, that would have been hilarious. This was probably my favorite 15. It just really worked, and my kids all stopped and were like, wait, what just happened? Dad, hang on, who's got the remote? Guys, like, it like stopped what was going on, and like, Tubi, what's Tubi? So like there was like a discussion and a thing, and like, it's definitely gimmicky, but I love the pulling you out of the experience that you're having into the world of your technology or whatever. Like, I thought that was super clever.
Probably my second favorite. It was just so disruptive, and whether you were watching alone by yourself or you were with 50 people in a bar that's loud, everybody went, "What's going on?" I'd love to see all the comebacks that people had. Dad, where's the remote? Billy, what'd you do?
Yeah.
Fox, whoa, Fox. If you're a Chiefs or Eagles fan, you probably heard it. But that disruption for a nobody brand, they're sort of the B team of streaming movies. You look at their content and it's like, okay, maybe if I'm super bored, I'll watch that. But a lot of people know Tubi now, and I think Fox might even own them. So Fox gets kind of their own inventory. They can run promos and things like that. So maybe it was like a really low spend on Fox corporate's part to run that, but to take that kind of nobody name on last Saturday, and make it a somebody name by Monday, way to go.
Yeah, let's see. And they had the other one too, which was more weird, maybe less direct. You see,
super weird
Tubi rabbit hole, which I guess had me just watching to be like, what is going on? The other commercial worked way more for me, but this one, I think it was, and maybe they had two versions or a couple different versions of it, but I'm like constantly like watching, like, what is going on? Like, obviously there's some brand here.
Ultra creepy, and by design. You know, I wonder if the assignment was, we're just going to be as weird as we can possibly be, so people talk about us. On the flip side, you know, a lot of people were having nightmares with the creepy rabbit starring in their dreams. I don't know if it was the choice I would have gone with if I was creative director or brand manager on that one. But, you know, a lot of people certainly talked about it, which is kind of what they want.
It's definitely memorable. It makes me think of like Turn Down for What? You know, that music video, if you're familiar with it, from the Daniels, where it's the one of the directors or creatives behind that music video. And basically his pelvis is out of control and just thrusting, and he can't stop it. It's like the music is causing it to happen. And he's like breaking through walls and the ceilings and floors and falling all over, and like the weirdest, craziest thing ever. And it's one of those things where you see it and you're like, have you seen this? You got to see this thing. It's crazy.
I love it. It takes courage. You know, I'm sure they knew when that thing got approved that there was going to be some, you know, contention. I'm sure there were plenty of people when they were trying to sell it through the chain at the ad agency with the client. You know, like, we can't do this. It's too creepy. It's too weird. But somebody won that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, being bold and trying stuff, like, kudos to them.
Yeah, you know, go big or go home, a lot of folks would say, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. I do have, like, you know, this one was charming. Where is it? Disney was charming. You know, despite all the craziness that's going on there.
Low production value.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Available things, but work to give you all the feels.
Totally.
You know, movies make us feel things, and especially Disney movies. And I think it's useful for their brand right now when, you know, the last couple of years have been kind of tough for them, and they're laying staff off, and there's bad imagery and or you know, bad brand image.
Yeah, if you got a daughter too, you know, I could tell you every line from Ariel or Little Mermaid or Aladdin or whatever. You know, it certainly hit you, and the power of the brand. 100 years, you know, you're going to have grandma and a 5-year-old both going, "Oh, Disney."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Working on the camera here, gosh.
Positive feels. Oh, thanks. And then there was, you know, thinking of positive feels, and this one doesn't let me embed, so we'll have to. Here we go. So the He Gets Us, the Jesus one. I know it can be polarizing, but I thought it was like great value for the brand and just kind of sweet. So this was like just images. This one is Be Childlike, just the childlike love, like showing that. I thought was super impactful. I have to imagine that just their website numbers went crazy after this. You know, this is a short one. I think they had 230s. So this one is Be Childlike. And then the other one was Love Your Enemies, which especially they over the last couple of years, you know.
The group, the Brought to You By, you know, who's this brought to you by, went from, you know, nobody to somebody.
Yeah.
Low production value. I kept thinking, were these all shoots or stock? Did they send somebody to Getty and have them rate every photo and pull all that out? Obviously, some of these were from big events that were staged and stuff. And there was a lot of blowback, like, would Jesus have spent, you know, $20 million promoting Jesus, or would Jesus have, you know, given out a lot of soup or something? And I thought it was funny, like, hey, Dad, why did we convert from Judaism again? Well, it was a Super Bowl ad. That's why.
Ah.
It just swayed me. But, I hear you. I was raised super Catholic, and the messages of love thy neighbor and embrace your enemy or whatever, great.
Yeah.
I bet there's a lot of boardroom discussion with whether or not to pursue this and make that spend and sort of stick their neck out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you brought up like the behind the scenes is really fascinating. It'd be good to see, after a few months, if people, I'm sure people can make an analysis of this, but like, how effective was it, right? Do you really like, is a group like this going to come back and do commercial next year, or is it like, no, we did that, we've got our name on the map, and now we can do other types of marketing, because there's some brands that are going to be coming back year over year. But then, like farmers, like, are they going to come back, or did they hit it, and are they good for 5 years, or how long?
I just hope it's not like a PAC fund and they went through the Jesus store to try to get PAC money or something.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I'm cynical.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys have any other ones that we haven't seen? There's like the Remy Martin cognac. I was like, doesn't make me want to drink that cognac, but
it's not a super.
It looked good and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think her 2 booze ads, which was kind of interesting for, a superstar athlete. Some people in social media gave her guff for, promoting booze. I think they ran back to back as well, which was interesting. She tweeted like, "Oof, good, my ads are out of the way, now I can relax." I'd be curious your take on Run With It, the NFL ad. I loved it. It had a lot going on. But from a production standpoint, as guys who shoot a lot of footage, curious to get your take on where it was going.
Yeah, we'll pull that up. John, do you remember that one?
Sorry, which one?
The
NFL is called.
Yeah, they like teased it before the game, and then like at the beginning, and then they're like, and we're gonna have the reveal at the end.
I'm not sure if I remember that one.
It was the first ad after halftime, and Aaron Andrews. It starts with a fake out. Like it looks like Aaron Andrews is interviewing somebody on the sidelines.
Yeah, here I'll get it.
And then they go wacka wacka.
Oh, that maybe sounds very familiar. Yeah, I can't place it at the moment.
All right, here we go.
And they bring in cameos. Yeah.
And we were watching the pregame show, and like they ran the pre-show part of it in the pre-show. So they're like, who's in the bird suit? We're like, I don't know. I don't care.
Oh, that my kids, they were like,
can we see the halftime show? We want to see who's in the bird.
Yeah.
So they were very much invested in seeing who was in the bird suit. But we have the kids do something else during halftime usually, because I want to preview the halftime show before we decide if people are watching it or not.
Do you know who was in the bird suit?
I don't know. I wasn't even paying attention to. Okay.
What was that? I had you muted for a second.
Devontae Adams, the former Packer.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. I did not recognize him at all.
I love that. I'm a super nerd. I caught that right away.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had. Oh, go ahead.
To bring in younger and older celebrities, sports celebrities. There's a YouTube star there. He's the guy who said, "Oh, I missed the shot" when they're running through the mall. If you're social or YouTube, you get that.
Mr. Beast. All the little kids got Mr. Beast. They're like, Mr. Beast, and all the old people are like, who's Mr. Beast?
Yeah, so just that casting. That's Jim Kelly, former Bills quarterback, looking like a great grandpa there. So the woman is Diana Flores. She's the quarterback of the world champion Mexico City Women's Flag Football League. Now that's on the map. Now she's on the map.
That was cool.
They're appealing to younger and older. They're appealing to Hispanic, Latino audiences. And at the end, they're saying, women, we love we love the idea of what you can do to help the NFL in the future. So outreach to female audience as well, strategically and in terms of execution, it was like check, 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 check. Just awesome, I thought.
Yeah, it was super engaging, and I know the girls were like super interested in like Flores, like her story, and we're asking questions about her and like, what does she do? What does she play? And I thought that was really cool, that they kind of got excited about her.
Yeah, maybe the risk on some of this stuff is who is looking up all these facts like an ad nerd, and none of it resonates. But even if you just saw the title card at the end, and that's Billie Jean King there. Way to go, Billie Jean King. Even if you just saw the title card at the end, great message. Women inclusion in the NFL. They're going for more female, younger, all kinds of different audiences.
Yeah. Oh, it was definitely fun. Yeah. I feel dumb now not recognizing Devontae Adams.
It drove me nuts on Billie Jean King, too. I was like, gosh, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Man, finally figured it out.
And Mr. Beast
speaking
right
of
here.
fun, guess who's had fun talking with John and Ryan about Super Bowl ads? Me.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I want to give you a chance. You said your favorite. What was your least favorite?
Thank you for asking. The penalty flag should have been ejected from the game. The GM ad with Will Ferrell. So.
Oh yeah, let me pull that up.
He's been, in their Super Bowl ads for the last couple of years. They wanted to make the ads about electric vehicles, EV. Their market share stinks. So to try to raise awareness to increase sales is terrific. Will Ferrell, funny, great production, execution, everything. The strategy was the dumbest in the world and a colossal waste of money that nobody cares about. The point of the ad was to say we made a deal with Netflix, and now you're going to see GM EV vehicles in Netflix programming. Whether it's a zombie movie or a Renaissance movie or whatever it is.
Or Squid Game.
Yeah, Squid Game, Stranger Things. Who cares that GM and Netflix made a deal?
Yeah.
Who cares that, maybe one of the terms of the deal, Netflix says, well, you can give us all this money and we're going to showcase your vehicles exclusively in XYZ programming, and you're going to give us a Super Bowl ad. And the deal's off. Short of that, like, who on earth thought this was a good idea? And anybody would care that this sort of deal that you would normally see as a boring press release, tops, is actually going to get this type of money. I just got the biggest who cares out of this. I couldn't believe they did it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And it felt like the failure of star power again, but then also the failure of like Netflix power, because I love how you phrase that as well, of like something that would be like a boring press release, they turned into a Super Bowl ad. Like, what? Who thought that was a great idea?
Yeah, like, good God. Bad idea. And maybe that was the, because I'm the CEO, that's why.
Yeah.
There's goofy human fallibility.
Yeah.
With all this stuff. We don't know why these decisions get made, and sometimes it's ego or hubris or just poor judgment, but whoever had the final say on that one, maybe they had to do it. If they didn't, there should be a meeting with them this week to talk about their judgment or something.
Yeah, and John, I wanted to give you a chance too to say what was your top and your least favorite.
Oh boy, yeah. So top.
Oops, hang on. I lost you on the video. Okay, now I don't have you on the video. There you are. Okay, hang on. There we go.
All kinds of things. I'm like texting people upstairs saying like, "Get off the Wi-Fi, please." I mean, I get like it's not the best ad, but I think the one sticks out to me as really good because I remember the name. It's like somehow it was just memorable to me.
It was effective.
And then, you know, the Clueless one might have been my least favorite, because I was also just like, it's a little cringy too to like have people like, let's relive this role from 20 years ago, you know, and try to
super cringy.
Like, I didn't know the brand, didn't remember it, and I was also like, oh, I have fond memories of watching that movie with my sister over and over again after school, but like, you know, it fails to hold on to the dignity of like an actress, you know, like Alicia Silverstone, who's like, well, I'm sure you've done more dignified roles since then, like just kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're right. They kind of throw her under the bus a little.
Yeah,
and she goes along with it.
It'd be brilliant if she's got a new series coming out in a month.
Yeah.
And she and her agent agreed, like, well, let's take the money, and I'll be popular again for 10 minutes before my new show or movie comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, and I think I shared mine. I think, okay, so definitely Planters was probably the one that I thought was the dumbest. I guess it was memorable. Like it was effective in that way, but I thought it was just so dumb and poorly done. Just people took the money and ran. And then, yeah, I mean, like I'm a 12-year-old boy, so the premature electrification. Ram, you know, it's a car commercial doing some silliness. I feel like they don't do that much. They're always just like so sexy. They try to be so sexy and you know, so I don't know, horsepower and blah blah blah, like stuff that I don't care about. So I appreciate them doing something a little bit different. So that's what I got. All right, well, we'll let you go here. Let me get this out of the way. Thanks so much, Andy, for coming on and hanging out with us and talking about Super Bowl commercial winners and losers. I feel better for the weekend when I'm probably going to continue to talk about all of these things with my friends. So thank you for coming on.
Ditto, and likewise. I really appreciate you asking. Love talking about this stuff, and just like seeing you guys. You know, I love what you're doing with your company, and seeing your success over the last bunch of years. It's cool to kind of hang out with you two again, even if it's through goofy rectangles talking about how people wasted millions of dollars and hopefully succeeded while spending millions of dollars.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys.
And we're going to shout out KW2 Ideas. That's your website, right?
KW2 Madison.
All right, KW2Madison.com. Let's fix that real quick. Check that out. Your president and co-owner over there. Here we go. Boom. Got it. Check that out. You can see Andy's creative mind at work over there. And Monday, you're going to be at the MMP, the Madison Media Professionals Group, doing this again. So you're going to be talking about Super Bowl stuff.
Correct. That group is great. You know, you're part of that. I want to get more into production and talk about lighting and audio and all that stuff with that group.
Oh, yeah. That'll be a blast. So check that out. And, of course, this will be turned into a podcast eventually, Happy Hour Podcast, letsbackflip.com/letsbackflip show. Just look it up, probably down in the links below or something like that. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. John, you got anything else for us?
Just make better ads. Make your ads better for the big game.
From all of us to you. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.